Alrighty, Doctor from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Where are we and what are we doing? Can we see what we see today? Yesterday I made the title of our webinar. I think it was what China doesn't, China stimulus doesn't fit. We were talking about it yesterday. I thought it was fascinating. The idea that we found out that they have anywhere from the capacity of 2 billion to 3 billion people housing. They have housing for that much when they have 1.4 billion people. And so now they're doing a stimulus somehow or another. I guess it's with the existing debt holders, I guess, something like that. In other words, people in their homes, mortgages. And so what they're doing is I guess you could say, those that have skin in the game. In other words, they own their home and they got a mortgage and they're working a job and something of that nature. I'm not sure how that all works as communism because they're working a job. Do they own their homes? Or are they renting their homes? What are they doing there? I'm not sure. But one thing is for sure, and that is the capacity of the housing they have in China says to me the stimulus that they've done doesn't sound right. In other words, we used to refer to it as a sugar high. So the index has gone from basically 2,700 to 3,300 in like 6 days or 7 days, something like that. We can put it up on the screen instead of the dollar for a moment. And it's been closed since Friday, Thursday, Sunday night maybe, something like that, because it's Golden Week, and they'll be closed until the 7th or the 8th, I believe it is. So there is that's Monday or Monday night, I guess you could call it, Sunday night, Monday. And you can see it's been going up. We've been in a buy for, I don't know, what's that, 8 days, I guess it is. Let me just do it again there. Yeah, it's 8 days that we were in buys. So there's 2, there's 4, there's 6, there's 8. We went into the buy right here. Let's see if we can make this, how do I do this? Like this. I love this beta. Watch this. See, you can go like that. So we've been in the buy since right there. That's it. That's 2. That's 4. That's 6. That's 8. Yep, 8 days we've been in a buy, and now they're closed all the way out until the 7th. Somewhere's around. So they'll close on a weekly buy, obviously this week because they're not trading again. And there's no overnight market at this point. So I guess let's see. When is the 7th? I think 7th is Sunday night. Yeah, Monday. So we got 6, 7. So they reopened the doors, I believe, on 7, and then they close them again on Friday. Friday's closed for Golden Week. They do it again. I forget what they call it. They call it something, and they actually open up on Saturday. So there'll actually be Chinese trading on Saturday the 12th. It'll start off on the 7th and then close again on the 11th, so we won't have a Friday market and so forth. So this is what we refer to as a sugar high. I mean, they've jammed this puppy from the 27, basically the 2730s area, I guess you could say. No, 27, there's a low of 26.97 on that day. So 27 to 33.58, 650 point move. So it's a heck of a move, but and I guess it's like what the Fed does here in the States, props up the what does it? Props up the stock market. I mean, that's the objective: prop up the stock market so people believe that things are better than bad. I mean, if you got an investment on and you're in a position and you're making money, that's definitely good compared to be bad. So that's the actual essence of it all. And so I just thought just to mention that again, just to try to explain myself even more. I mean, I talked about it yesterday, but what it really comes down to is they're stimulating something that's already stimulated. So that is only a pure sugar high, giving owners of homes, I guess it is. Can you be an owner in a communist country? I don't know. I mean, they confuse everything. Everything seems to be hidden. You don't really know what the hell they're doing until after it's done, or when they've declared insolvency and they're in receivership, all of a sudden, two of the major real estate organizations or companies, or can you be a company? I don't know. It's a very nebulous adventure when you're trying to define the Chinese industrial society, because the leader says they're communist. They're not socialist. They're not capitalist. They're communist. Okay, but at the same time, people have mortgages. How do you have mortgages if you don't own something? So I don't know. What I'm trying to get across is that they're pounding and they're plowing in extra money into that sector, and they have like twice the capacity already. So that's why I say this stimulus doesn't fit. All right, I'm done that. Let's look at the dollar. It was interesting to see the dollar move the way it did. And what is it? We got about an hour and I guess about 22 minutes. We're going to get one of those labor numbers coming out. The JOLTS, is it? Let's see if we have it up on Dukascopy's calendar. Let's just go to the calendar real quick. Trading and Dukascopy calendar, online economics. Let's take a look at today. And there is today. IMS manufacturing construct. There it is. JOLTS job openings. Now they have that as a low, and they have the ISM as a high, which is interesting. So let's see. When is the ISM? The ISM is at 10, which is an hour and 21 minutes from now. So JOLTS will be out, and that will be out. And then we have actually look at that. We have a bunch of other stats coming out later in the afternoon, going into the evening. The API for crude and all like that. But in the end result is that even with all that bombing and disrupting and getting rid of Hamas and Hezbollah, you're not seeing any action in the oil market, which is interesting. It's they're not paranoid, they're not nervous. The price of oil is basically what did I do? I put it down there. Let's go to oil. Where is it at? There it is. And let's go over to the oil. So we won't really be on the webinar when all this data comes out. The only data that does come out is at 8:55, the Red Book index, which people do pay attention to. So that'll be in about what is that? That's 16 minutes. Red Book comes out. That's one of those. What it really is it's another Fed factor, I guess you could say. It comes from one of the Fed banks. So the Red Book, and it tells us about actual forecasts and previous values, impacts, so forth, about industrial base and so forth. Let me see if I can get a better description of the Red Book. Red Book, Fed Bank. There it is. There are multiple matches for the Red Book and Fed Bank, including the Red Book, which was an internal document by the Federal Reserve, and which is a publication of the Government Accounting Office. The Red Book, officially titled "Current Economic Comment by Districts," by the Fed districts themselves, when an internal document that provided a qualitative view of economic developments in each Federal Reserve district. It was created in May of 1970, circulated. So it's like the Beige Book. We have a Beige Book that comes out of Philadelphia. That looks at the industrial Northeast, from Baltimore all the way up to Boston. So the Red Book is more looking at all the the Fed's different banks. They have like 7 banks around the United States. And so that's what or is it 11 banks? How many Fed banks are there? That's another one we could take a look at. Fed banks. Fed Bank Reserve. How many? Let's see. How many? We're just getting into the data a little bit here. How many? Let's see what that jumps out at. Hey, Robin. All right, 12. That's what I wasn't sure if it was 11 or 7. It's 12. Okay. 24 branches are the operating arms of the Federal Reserve. So it's 12 Federal Reserve banks. And then here's the map. There's the one in California. There's a littler one down in Los Angeles. There's 2 up in Washington State of those 24. Then you can see in Utah, Texas has a major bank. It's one of the 12. What is that? That is Kentucky? What is that? Right there. That must be Kentucky? No. There's Tennessee. Maybe it's Idaho. And then you can see Minnesota. You can see Illinois. You can see Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and New England. Virginia and Richmond. Richmond, and a lot of them have different strengths too. So, like the Richmond one talks about gross domestic product. The Philadelphia one looks at this whole industrial base of the New England down to Richmond, that type of thing. You can see right there, that's what, Georgia? Or is it Tennessee? It must be Georgia. I think Georgia has the other one. And then they have a mini one there too. You can see that. So, and then you see all little tinier dots, of all that. Or we can make that even bigger. Here you go. Does that make it? There you go. It's even bigger. Yeah. So there it is right there. All right. There's this is, where is it? This is Illinois. And that is Kentucky? No, that's St. Louis, of course. Because at one time, the St. Louis Federal Reserve was I guess it's the before there was a Federal Reserve, St. Louis was a financial center point. It was what they called a federal bank, and A.G. Edward was the chairman of it, and his wife was the sister of Abraham Lincoln, Mary Lincoln, and when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, Mary Lincoln went and lived with them the rest of their lives. But A.G. Edwards also turned into a brokerage house. And it was one of the number 1 brokerage houses for a long time. One of the top brokerage houses in the country. And got bought out by Wachovia, I think it was. Which then went bankrupt during the financial collapse of the global financial system back in 2008. All right, let's go back to the basics. Let's go check out. We just were looking at the... let's do this. Let's get rid of that. We were looking at the dollar index, and you see the strength coming back into it for some odd reason, insinuating some strength in the... it's got as high as 101.16. It's trading at 101.15 right now, so pretty much at the high. And we can go move this over like so. And you see it's trying to jump into the daily buy. You see the weekly. You see here, the weekly is doing the same thing. It's starting to dance on the buy side again right there. You see that right there. See how it's easy to move this thing around. I love that. And then we shoot over to the euro. Let's see what the euro is up to this morning. There it is right there. Go all the way down. We did add some more euros. And Robin, you see I got your sugar on there down at the bottom. And I updated the platinum to January. Let's go to... Where's it at? Right there. There's the euro. You see it broke down yesterday, and it's in the sell now for 3 days on our beta, which is interesting. And it's in the weekly sell. Now, over on the old platform that we use still for charts and all, but we're really drifting towards moving to the beta, because the beta just shows more potential all the time. You see here, we went into the weekly sell here on, that's the Swiss. There's the euro. Went into the weekly sell on the euro. It's trying to climb back into the buy. And see, where did it didn't, it's just trying to climb into the sell. See all this action? We ended up having a green and a red. And what did this do? Did that put it into the sell? See, they had a green and a red again. And that one kept it in the buy, and it was in the buy for all this. And then it's starting to break down. Now, over on the beta, you see here all this hesitation back and forth. You see there. You see we had have 3 days in the sell with no problem there, and it's been the right choice, and it's in the weekly sell now. It's going into the weekly sell this week. You see it's all breaking down. The fast is still a little above. You can see that right there. How does it look on the other one? The fast on the old platform is still above also. Right there, you see the little green dotted line. Yeah, the green one right there. Let's see if we can make it solid for the fun of it. Style. There we are. Yeah, see, it's just banging away, and then the green tries to bounce up. The slow is bouncing up, but not over on the beta. The beta's picking up more reality than anything else, as far as I'm concerned. I'm really becoming enamored with the new beta. I like that. Right there, trying to climb back into that cell again. All right, from there we could take a look at the British pound. And there is the pound going back into the sell again. That's on the other platform right there. See it there, it's starting to press in. And you can see it's still in that weekly buy with no problem. And, and when you see the dollar index rising, obviously you're seeing the pairs trades roll over. And, Powell has made it very clear to yesterday in the afternoon. He made it very clear to everybody that he is not doing another half. He's not doing another half. It's going to be a quarter, and they're because he's getting a lot of flack. They're saying, why did you? Oh, cool. Why did you have to drop it a half? They feel it's way too political. I was even set for a quarter. When they did a half, I was like, you could feel that he wanted to do the half. He needed to do that for the politics. All right, right here, that T was good. Right here, let's see what we can do with this. I'm not sure why it's showing us a mild one there. But you can see the weekly is still in the weekly on the beta. You see it's rolling over, and obviously it's screaming down there. Now, there's a couple different products that are more efficient than others. Let's see if we can find them again. Let me go back to that. So what is that? Right here. Like I was looking at, what was I looking at? I have on there now the yen, but it's in an American way, and it's the Swiss in an American way. So it's reversed. So it's Swiss dollar and yen dollar, not dollar yen and dollar Swiss. And that's what a lot of people. Let's see if we can find the cable, see what that looks like, if it's the same way too. And the cable, let's see, so I go X D B maybe? Let's see what that does. XDB chain used. I don't know what that means. But let's see what that one looks like. Wait a minute, that's weird. What happened there? Let's go back again. Let's see. XB. No, XD. D. B. All right, so let's see what that looks like. See if that. There we go. All right, that does make sense. All right, so let's put that in and on the. I'm going to put that on the for us. I'm going to get rid of the other one because it is a dollar. It's the pound dollar pair, and that to me that's good. That's what we want. We want pound dollar. Let's see. Let's go add a product. Paste. GBP. Create. And let's make that alive for me. There's right there. Give it access. And we're off to the races. Let's put the cable in there now. See how that looks. There it is. Yeah, that's so much better. Look at that. Instead of the bad line. So you got 3 days of selling going on. You've been in a weekly buy on this. 4 weeks. Went into a sell for a week and then back 3 weeks into the buy. And you can see it picked up the weakness right in here on, was that the 28th of August? Let's just recycle that. When you ever have a problem where you can't read it, just recycle it, to refresh it. And so in this case here, that was 9/13. So September 13th. So it was the close of that week right there. This moved down. And then it went right back into the buy for the following week for the 20th. And it caught the buy signals. See, the beta gives us better, I want to say better trades. It's picking up. In other words, when we have some of these things where you have to grin and bear and be neutral, it tells you gives you more confirmation. Like, look at that one. Woof, woof, woof. Look at that. Went into the buy in here on, was that August 8th. Where's August 8th? There's August 8th right there at the bottom. So it went into the buy there. Look at that nice move going from, was it like 126.75 to 132.68. Nice. Yeah, see, that's I like that. That's cool. That's cool. All right. So there's cable, and cable's trying to roll over a little bit, but not the weekly. The weekly's holding on very fine, same as on our old platform. So there's probably not, this, I just want to say it's just a sugar high what's going on. You got to assume that capital is coming into the States. You have to assume that China has given cash to many different people now by cutting the rates and plowing in capital. It's almost like repos. Excuse me, I had to take a sip there. The repo market, I know that some of these may not. As a Fed does, let's put it on there and just show you. Does repo, and this will give an explanation. What does Fed repo? Okay, the implicit interest rate on these agreements is known as a repo. Okay, the U.S. Federal Reserve uses repos and reverse repos to manage the money supply, influencing short-term interest rates. All right, now let me explain what that is in even simpler terms. When it says that the Federal Reserve uses repos and reverse repos to manage the money supply and influence short rates, what they do is when they think the economy is running really hot, it's growing, what they will do, and they think it's getting too hot, they will go to the local banks and they will say, we want to sell you bonds. And the bank has to buy them. And they have to take their spare cash and buy bonds, which means they can't take that spare cash and lend it to customers. And that's the reverse repo, is they think that the economy is moving too slow. And what they do is they go to the bank and they go, hey, you got all those bonds sitting on your balance sheet. How about if we buy them? We're going to give you a bunch of cash. And then the bank has now a bunch of cash instead of the bonds. And what they do then is they can lend that money into the economy to bank clients. And then they go and invest it in, building something, buying something, growing something, And so they move cash into the economy and they move cash out of the economy. And that's what the repo and reverse repos are. And so the Chinese stimulus was basically a reverse repo. They bought the bonds that people owned and gave them cash. And now that cash is moving around. Cash is fungible. Money is fungible, and they go to different investments around the world, and be it domestic or foreign. If they can, sneak the money out, and so that's what they do. They move it in and out. So the central bank is buying your bonds from you and handing you cash, or they're taking your cash and handing you bonds, which is hard to spend a bond. You can't spend a bond. You're holding a bond. So, and it's a guarantee of equity. So that's what a repo market is, and reverse repos. And so I believe right now when they do the repo, or I'm sorry, the reverse repo, where they add money to the system. I guess it's a repo. Yeah, reverse repo. So they're buying the bonds on the repo and adding cash into the system, and reverse repo is when they're taking it away. So the Chinese now have done that first part. They're plowing cash into the system and taking the different people around the country, their debt, their mortgage debt, or lowering the interest rates on the mortgage debt, forcing it to be cheaper so that they have extra cash in their pocket to go do other things. And that's what we're looking at here. And that's what we call a sugar high. Okay, there you go. Matter of fact, maybe we'll label this a sugar high market, or sugar high markets are sugar high, or are feeding off of a sugar high, something like that. I think that's what we'll do. We'll label it that way because that's exactly what's going on. Now that I say where my telephone is, I realize it's not sitting right here. So let me go grab that before I forget it. It's sitting on the kitchen table. Hold on a second, traders. I will be just like 4 or 5 seconds. I'll be 4 or 5 seconds away. Okay, traders, I don't know where I put my phone. Oh, there it is. I found it. Okay, we're back and we found the phone. And that's what we want to do, is we want to talk about that. Oh, hey, Titus, how you doing? And there's 52 week. Euphoria. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's euphoria. It's like free money. It's free money at the moment. And then when the government decides to take it away from you, they'll take it away from you. It's like, that's the way it works. That is the way it works. Free money. Yeah. Crazy, huh? So, yeah, that's what we're viewing today. And then so you're seeing, the dollar index rising, because they think interest rates are going to not go down as fast as they were hoping. And it's just an adjustment. And then the sugar high itself is igniting them. They're almost all excited. Ooh, what do we got here? I see Janos is up there. There's Janos. Hey, Janos. I have questions in regarding to the playlist. Did you finish the course in full systematic form? Oh, okay. That's something else. Let me see. Let's see. Cool. And title today. There we are. And what the title is going to be this conversation we just had. Because I think it's an important factor. People need to understand the physical mechanics, just like we watched the algorithms and technical analysis and fundamentals. You got to understand, when they say don't fight the Fed, what it really comes down to is the Fed is putting sugar into the system. Oh, there goes sugar. How about if we go like this? Markets get sugar high. That's what I like. That's the title. Because that's what it really is. And we're getting it in the States like that's what they do overnight with the hedge funds. They give them overnight capital, and then when the morning comes, they say keep it. So in other words, they've been lending them, some hedge funds get, $250 million, they get $100 million. I know Citadel actually gets $1 billion to sit with every night. And so they can have $1 billion position on, which gives them, it makes them not sell their equity. In other words, they're liquidating less. Maybe they buy puts more often. The Fed knows it. The Fed can see everything, because they see all the balance sheets and they see all the transactions and the clearing. They see it all, so they know what they're doing. So as long as they're being friendly with the Fed Reserve, doing what the Fed wants them to do with the overnight money, it's kept in the system. So there's billions of dollars in short-term money sitting in the system every night to hold it up. And that is what we call, as I sip my tea, a sugar high. All right. All right, back from the sugar high, we'll go to the Swiss. Now let's go to the Swiss. Let's see, where's the Swiss at? Right there. Let's see how the inflation fighters are doing. There we go. There's the Swiss. You see here, it's just kind of stumbling. It looks like it's trying to, look at all these green and red dots. It's really fighting. It's like it's getting jammed back and forth. You can see it's still in the sell, but very close to trying to climb into a buy. You see it on the spreadsheet. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. Right there, the Swiss, 18 weeks in a buy, 5 days in a sell. And then when we go over to the beta, which we are becoming very, very happy with, let's go with, where is it at? Right there. And then we slide all the way down. Now this is the reverse, but it's very accurate. I like the way the accuracy is right here. So this is what is this? This is the Swiss dollar pairs trade, not the dollar Swiss pair trade. So it's just inverse relationship. And so it's been in that long weekly buy for months, and it's flirting with the sell, which I find interesting. And you can see like the daily, it's been in a buy instead of a sell because it's the reverse pair trade. It's the Swiss dollar pair trade, not the dollar Swiss pair trade. That's how they trade it in the States. And so this is way more accurate. And you can see what is it doing right there? It's trying to climb into the sell, where we would assume what this is trying to do is climb into the buy. And of course it is. So it's just the reverse of it. And so it's at 84.74, and the other one is at like 116 or 1.1 something, like 1.15 something or another, that type of thing. It's reversed out. And so that's the Swiss. Obviously, they're very coherent and very organized, so which is really cool. All right, and from there we jump over to we be jumping. The new prime minister in Japan took over, the fellow there, and you can see right there. Let's put it up on the screen there. No, wrong one. We were on the right screen. There it is. There's the yen, 3 days in a sell. Still in a weekly sell for a bunch. How long has it been in a weekly sell? 11 weeks there. And then just 2 days in a sell. Now we're going on a third day. But look at it. It's lifting up. It was lifting up yesterday, the day before. Now we'll go to Mr. and Mrs. Beta and put in the yen dollar pairs trade, where right now you're looking at the dollar yen pairs trade. It's the reversed out. And unfortunately, these are more accurate here in the States. And like I always say, I always show you, the, is that right there? No, that's not it. That was the Swiss again. I always show you, what was I thinking there for a second? like it's, oh, I know it is. We always said, and we always do say, we're more Eurocentric when we look at the markets. In other words, we look at the markets like you're looking at the markets, like outside the United States, not inside. So as you can see here, this was moving up for the last couple of days. You'll see on the beta, it's moving down for the last couple of days. See that right there? And you see it's been underneath the zero line for 4 days now, and it's been through the weekly. Just this week it started it. Over here, it's still underneath it, trying, but notice the fast is moving up, but still on the beta, it's still down. The fast has been up. Look at that. The fast has been up for, weeks and still holding there, but the slow is breaking down. Now the question will be, will we see the dollar yen pairs trade, like all of a sudden find a spike and the thing will move up into the buy side after 11 weeks? That's the big question. I would say that the beta might be outmaneuvering the old platform. We'll see. Now we have a couple of really strange things happening. The port workers on the East Coast all the way down to Texas. So from Maine all the way down to Texas are on strike, the longshoremen. And so they're not unloading the ships. So that'll have some effect. Mr. Biden has said some really strange things. Miss Harris is, she's Miss Harris. She doesn't make any sense half the time anyway, so it doesn't matter. But Biden, who always says strange things, as president, you can't get away with that. You have to. You can't. That's the problem. Mr. Biden never really had to answer too many questions because he wasn't the number one. Now that he's the number one, he can't go, oh well, ask blah blah blah. It's like, no, you're the president. You're number one. It's you. If you want the sun to shine today, just say it's to shine, and it will. If you want it to not shine today, it won't. Because you are number one. I think that's why. What was his name? Harry Truman used to say the buck stops here. Yeah, I understand it could affect as much as $5 billion a day in commerce. Nothing better than tea on a cool day. All right. Yeah, they're thinking. Now, that's why Harris and Biden won't talk to them, Whereas Trump, he's a negotiator. His job has been to negotiate and deal with labor unions, and he's worked with the unions, and he's been connected to the unions and so forth. So, he's a builder. You can't get anything done if you're not working with the people that are doing the construction. So, all right. From there, we'll slide over to the Great Experiment. I don't even know if I could even dare ever to get that thing on the beta. Oh, look at that! Look at that nice dip. I guess that's the weakness in the yen, which makes it stronger on the Turkish lira. So it's rolling over, trying to get into a sell there with no problem. And just as the weekly buy is trying to come back, we'll see. This is turning into a fascinating horse race between the two. Not much more than you can really debate, I guess you could say. It's a wild and woolly day. I guess that's what you really can say. What else can we say about any of this at this point? Just that the product itself, the Turkish lira, is up in it's up at the higher end of the range. That's about it. I mean, thank goodness it's not up at 40. It's been hanging in the 30s, 38, 37 now, back and forth. Maybe it'll come down and challenge the 30. I don't know what 37 evens. Can we get that low? I'd hope so. I mean, it would only be positive for the people in Turkey if it did. So, and then from there, we go over to, now we can go look at the metals complex and so forth and oils by looking at the South African rand. And as you can see right there, there's the Rand. This is the #1 brick in the world. And you can see it's steady from yesterday. It hasn't really budged much. It was a little bit higher. Had a higher high today. That's about it. And a weekly sell. So you would assume that that weekly sell says overall the strength should be in the metals complex. And when you look at this, it should be unchanged from yesterday. So I think I saw it up a couple bucks at like $10 today or something like that. Let's go to the gold. And there's the gold. Yeah, it's up. Still in a red dot. Still in a sell. But it's up. It settled yesterday, what are they saying, at 59.5. And it's trading at 71.5. So it's up 12 points. So you're seeing there's some strength going on there. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm going to take a Lossinger. So you might hear a crunching or two. But that's the gold. Let's see what they're doing to silver today. Same situation. Up a little bit, but still in a daily sell, just like on the spreadsheets, as you can see it. Let's see, right there. 2 days in a sell, now 3. 2 days in a sell, now 3 on silver. Just like gold. And gold, 13 weeks in a buy, and silver is 6 weeks in a buy. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see, where's gold on this thing here? There's the ETF. There's DAX. I'm going to have to start writing what these things are like right there. Instead of just saying a stock, we should put, like now I'm starting to notice, look at other currencies. I'm starting to say what they are, like cocoa, orange, cotton, coffee, yen, Swiss, sugar, platinum, cable, GBP. This way I just see the name and spot it. Let's see, where is the gold? I know it's here somewhere. We look at it before. We'll look at it again. That's the ETF. Must be all the way at the top. There's silver, there's gold right there. Okay, so it's the second one. Let's refresh it. When it does that, and it says sorry, you can see there, same strength. At the same time, you can see on the algorithm right there, 3 days down on it, pushing. You see the long weekly, there's 4 weeks in a buy, then a sell. There's 4 weeks again in a buy, and this one was like 4 weeks in a buy again and 2 sells. So it's basically adjusted itself on the beta much better than the old platform does. Bum, 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 bum. And then let's go check out silver, which is right next to it. Why am I missing it? There it is. There's silver. And same thing, the 3 days. You can see it on the short-term algorithm right there. We can really emphasize. I love it. Watch this. See? 3 days in a sell. You can make it very small. So you make it very large so you can see it. Has that same thing going on with the weekly. In this case here, it's 7 out of the last 8 weeks in a buy. So it's showing that strength. And you can see here, when you look at the whole month of September, that would be basically 4 weeks. And then there's the August, there's like 8 weeks. So somewhere's in there you had a week of selling, more than likely. It's right around in here, just where the weakness that you see. So that's why we're really enjoying looking at the beta now, because the beta is really starting to perform. Let's see, what else? We go from there. Now, I looked at this specifically. I went and looked at the copper right there, just because I saw it breaking down on here. So this is 2 days in a sell, and you can see over on the spreadsheet right there, copper is still 15 days in a buy, and on the old platform, and I'll throw you onto the beta. There's the beta there. You can see it. 3 days or 2 days in a sell there. And go like this. You see it really close. 2 days now. And then on the old platform, you can see right there, it's trying to get into the sell today. It's trying. All right, and that is those three metals. And then last but not least, we go to the platinum. There's the platinum, doing the same thing. You know, it's in a sell for the day, but up higher than yesterday, just like copper. And then when you look at the beta, let's go find the beta on that. Boy, I was impressed with the beta, Robin, with the sugar. That really impressed me. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. Click, and then go zoom down like so. And there is platinum at the bottom there. See platinum Jan. I click on it, and there it is. And you see it's doing the same thing. The 2 days. See that very clearly there. Matter of fact, what's interesting is the weekly is starting to flirt with a sell. It's still in the buy by a really small number. You see it right there. Not the zero line, but see plus 0.59999999999. You know, it's a, and you can see it's trying to lift. Go like this. See, it's trying to lift up. And that's the platinum. Platinum is an interesting product that just seems to march along in its own way and does not seem to let go. All right, and so from there, where do we go from there? Oh, we go to the energies. Let's go check out the energies. Let's take a look at crude and Brent. Let's see. Let's see. Brent. Right there. There's the Brent. You know, it's been in a bunch of sells for a bunch of days. 6 days now. Making new lows again. But there's the real low to watch out for. Is that 68.69. And today's low is 70.91. Is that right? Yeah, 70.90. No, low today is 69.91. 69.91, and still 20 some odd cents away. And you can see the weeklies still in weekly sells for, like, you know, what's 6 weeks now. And then we go over to West Texas Intermediate, which they match each other perfectly. There it is right there. There it is right there. There we go. Same situation, bunches of sells, 6 days in a sell. You know, it's 6 full weeks in a weekly sell. And up on the spreadsheet, which is more interesting in many, many ways, you see here it's only 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks in a buy. And so it didn't get tricked. And you can see the natural trend is down more than it is up. No doubt that it started the rally on that, and it was in a buy for pretty much that whole move up. But the weekly stayed in the sell and told you not to get involved on the long side, and it's definitely rewarding you, and it's trying to go after this low here. That's the one we're watching now. So from there, we shift our gears over to heating oil, the fuel that fuels everything. Airplanes and trucks and automobiles, and, you know, diesel automobiles, that is, and, you know, Land Rovers, things like that. And you can see there that's been in a sell now also for like 6 days per liter, you know, in a sell. And you can see the weekly on this thing's been in a weekly sell now for like 4. There's 8. We're going on a 12th week in a sell on that, which is interesting when you think about it, since the winter months. They call it heating oil because it heats things up. And it's used for heating homes, flying jet airplanes, and same fuel, and diesel trucks moving large objects on roads. From there, we shift our gears over to the nat gas. Another thing that's used for generation. Also, heating oil does power electrical plants too. They have diesel electrical plants too. And then from there, we go over to natural gas. I think it's up here. There it is right there, natural gas. Obviously, as we get colder and all those record colds in September in Europe, it's pushing it up. You can see that there. You can see 3 days in a buy with that. Not really going anywhere. It's been in a weekly buy now for 5 weeks. And obviously you can see 5 weeks back, it's definitely higher than before. Back then, that's for sure. And then from there, we shoot over to Spain. And take a look at the energy company in Spain. Let's see, where is it at? Right there. And you see that's flatlined. It's firm. There's no doubt it's firm. You can see all those green dots, but it's flat. And you can see the daily buy has been in a buy for 6 days. It's been following that whole thing. At the same time, you can see the weeklies even trying to get into the weekly after a few weeks in a sell. And obviously, the overall trend, you can see here going back as much as 6 weeks ago. 7 weeks ago, it put some type of bottom in, basically right around in here, put in the bottom. Went back into a weekly buy. Stalled out somewhere around in here on this move right there into a weekly sell for 2 weeks. And now it's trying to climb back into the buy as we speak from this action here. So the beta does a really good job of picking up the natural trend. The momentum, as we used to like to call it, the momentum. And that's the action we're seeing there. All right, we got a title for the day. It's the sugar high that's definitely powering all these markets. The cold weather is instigating, obviously, the energies to be stronger in many ways. At the same time, we're seeing diesel and Brent and crude and all like that doing the other. It's basically saying, nah, not necessarily, just not necessarily. That's what it's really saying. So, anyway, we're done. We will catch you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. And so, happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be tomorrow on Happy to Hump Day, middle of the week. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders, have a safe and smart trading day. And remember, in 35 minutes, a major number is coming out. Ta-ta for now.